You need to try and pick off the units as.
Look at the shields on the mark.
Oh my god, the drone's gonna take him!
Welcome back to the third and final game of this series for the IPL Season 2 Losers Round 2. I am DJ Wheat for OneMoreGame.tv, and it is DarKFoRcE going up against BratOK. Now, we saw BratOK win game number 1 with a very, very aggressive yet intelligent style of play where he held his opponent off at his natural. He did get countered attack, was able to defend that, and it inevitably ended up taking out DarKFoRcE's expansions, leaving him with no economy and winning with just a sheer advantage in army size, where then DarKFoRcE, playing a very meticulous game, he had a few opportunities to actually go in after some huge engagements where he won with many units left over and possibly counterattack for the kill. But instead of doing that, he continued to expand, he continued to tech up, and ultimately his army of Broodlords overtook BratOK. That leaves us here in game number 3, where the winner of this matchup will advance to the Losers Round 3. And unfortunately, the loser of this match will be eliminated from the competition. Never a good place to be. So in the lowers round, of course, it's your last chance to try to stay alive for as long as you can. And BratOK, look at this with, well, this is a little bit more in tune with the style that he went with in game number 1. And he is putting a Rax very, very far out here. And this SCV might actually go down. 2 SCVs going to try to get the surround there on that drone. He does manage to get away. And a second Rax is going to go down. So BratOK going to opt to go with some aggression. Now, I find this to be a very, very, I don't want to say bad decision, but it's certainly an interesting decision because he doesn't know where his opponent is yet. It's very possible that he can find out, based off of the fact that this drone did, come back. It's going to go from the middle, and he's going to go ahead and scout him, whether that be by luck or whether that be by coincidence. If he does go over here, he's kind of just following the drone back to his home. So if that drone would have gone another direction, maybe the SCV would have followed. But as it stands, here comes that SCV. There's already another drone down there to try to take this guy out because the first Marine is on the way. You'd think that the bunker will likely go down, and as this drone comes out, he is going to meet up. The pool is about ready to be finished, and so we will see some pretty heavy aggression come out here as the 2 racks have the Marines rallied out and on the way. The bunker does get put down just outside the hatchery. The hatchery's moments away from finishing. Here comes a whole slew of drones being thrown in here. They're going to go and for the Marines first. It doesn't really matter if you get the SCV. If you get the Marines, there's the SCV building the bunker is pointless. So he does manage to stop this, gets the spine crawler down, and that will be stopped. Now, however, what it does do is it puts your opponent on the back foot. He did have to make a few extra lings. He doesn't have a complete wall here, so we may see him actually throw down an additional racks or another building. This Overlord will be caught, and this will supply block DarKFoRcE. As speed has not yet been started, he's just now going to start getting gas. Most of his drones down here at his natural. Lings are going to move forward, but there are plenty of Marines, and there will be even more here to help out with this attack. Without speed, there's nothing those Lings can do. No way. No way. BratOK is going to go for another command center at the 3rd. This is one of the few maps here on Terminus RE where you can do this, because until the opponent has drops or has mutas or some other way, Nidus, which is all at least lair technology, he's got to come through this little choke right here. And we will have some more Marines moving forward. This isn't probably going to be a committed attack. And he's going to want to be very careful because once speed finishes, those Zerglings will be incredibly deadly. But what he is doing is just delaying. He's going to have this third base down. And the only way that the Zerg would be able to get through it is through here until he is Hive Tech. It's going to be quite a long time as he's just started speed. He could actually go up to a quick Hive. But he is not going to scout that for quite some time. We have an Overlord making his way all the way down here. It will take him a good while before he finally moves down. And there is the third Rax to split this off. Now, he can't get too Marine heavy because it's pretty likely we will see the Baneling Nest come up from DarKFoRcE. He is going to start his lair rather early. And just this one Spine Crawler. Oh, no. He could have gone right in, but he still didn't have speed. If he would have had speed, that could have been a move that would have done a lot of damage. We have the Tech Lab being built. Zerg could potentially go up here and poke this, but with the Marines just getting free damage, not the smartest decision. The third orbital being morphed in right here, and that is not only going to just completely surge the SCB production, but he'll have scans, extra mules. He can even drop supply depots, supply drops if he want. So he could do pretty much anything at this point. Now, speed is done. He cannot see the third base just from the cliff. Now we have the third base of DarKFoRcE going up. Stim is on the way. An Overseer is being made, and this one Overlord is making its way down. That is so crazy. I mean, it's not very often you see something like this. Went for the early aggression and then decided to throw down that third base. The Baneling Nest just started, so there's going to be a good while here before he... And here's the move out. One Ling moving forward. Got some Hellions. They do not have Blue Flame, and here comes this Overseer. Makes his way over. Will the Marines kill it? He sees the Hellions. He still doesn't know about that third base, but we do see this Overlord coming into position, and he will find out soon enough as the army is moving out here from BratOK. The Overlord is going to get vision of this very, very soon, clearing out this initial Xel'Naga Tower. And wow, I mean, with these Hellions to pad, we do have several Banelings being morphed in. They will not have Baneling speed yet, as it has not even been started. That means even on creep with Stim, he might want to wait until Stim finishes up. It'll clear out some creep tumors. Finally, he's going to see that this third base is up. Might be a little bit of panic. He's got to be careful with the Spine Crawler. And the Baneling speed has been started. Third base, just fine for DarKFoRcE. He's now got his Medivacs out. Reactors, and then just Tech Lab on this is putting on another Rax. And that will be Rax number 6 right here, going down inside the main with 2 factories churning out tanks. And what I'm afraid of right here is a potential contain right here by BratOK. He's setting himself up with a very nice army. He could use these Hellions to try to eliminate or soften up as many Banelings as possible. He doesn't have Blue Flame, but as long as he can keep those numbers up, and he might be able to take out his... Oh, the tumor does not go down. If he can soften up any of these units here, as 5 mutas are on the way. Oh, the Banelings almost hit. The more Banelings he can eliminate from there, as the tanks are building. They do not have siege mode quite yet, but is so close to being done. If the Terran sets up a contain right here, well, the mutas are out, and that's what he would need to be able to fight against a contain. Oh, he left. Oh, my God. He left the Hellions just sitting right there. Oh, and he's going to leave the Marines as well. And suddenly BratOK, just not paying attention, is going to lose nearly all of his initial force that he's built up here. He does have a lot of tanks, but he needed to keep that Marine force. Marines do not have upgrades. There were not a whole lot of units lost, and I'm not sure that there is just the one missile turret up here. And that's a gamble. That really is a gamble. You could take out that turret and go for economic damage, or you could just back off. And that is what DarKFoRcE did. Now he does not have any banelings right now, and he'll need banelings for the second attack. 4 tanks, several Marines, and 3 medevacs, and there's that siege. 1 in the back. He'll spread this siege out. Put 1 up here. He might even put 1 back here, but you still got to be careful of the mutas. So go ahead and move it forward. There we do have a bunch of banelings in production. +1 attacks for the mutas is on the way. Marines are spread out. This base has gone down. Not sure that it has been spotted here by BratOK. And here we go. In comes the force. The banelings are going to go after the Marines, but there's another pack in the back. The question is are there enough Marines? There are 3 medevacs. He needs to get those medevacs over to the Marines. Oh, no. If he would have put those Marines together, they could have taken out these mutas with no problem. But here comes another force of Marines. He still has protection with his siege tanks. He had about 8 Marines, but there were a few spread over here, a few spread over here, and the medevacs were actually focusing on these Marines. This is going to be a pretty worthless hatchery for a little while. But BratOK is in desperate need of some additional Marines to come out here. And we have more Lings and Banes on the way. 11 Banelings in production. Muta's doing a phenomenal job of clearing out these tanks. I mean, after the initial attack where where BratOK wasn't paying attention, took out those Hellions that could have been used for a lot more in terms of softening things up. However, look at the Muta harass here, taking out a medevac, dropping a tank here and there. You know, all the Mutas are doing is buying some time for more Banelings to come out. Once he has the right numbers, he can just roll on through this. Oh, but there's another big force coming out, and we've got an expansion going up yet again. There was a great little opportunity for the Mutas to fire off against another tank. Some missile turrets here, like he was doing in game number 1, would be a very, very smart decision. Since he has his Marines spread out, he can optimize some additional damage output against those Mutas. Oh, and there are a couple more Mutas do fall. Actually, just the 1, 2. Oh, and he has to pull him back, and he loses about 5 Mutas there. And suddenly, DarKFoRcE's advantage looks like it is going to be in pretty poor shape. There are a lot of Banelings, though, and a lot of Lings. And there is not enough to stop all that. There is no way. I mean, he's got several tanks back here. He could bring these guys in. So I suppose it is possible. The Greater Spire already going up as Hive Tech was hit around the 15-minute mark. Upgrades galore coming out from both players. +1 attack on the Lings. +1 attack on the Marines. The Muta count has fallen, however. And it's a scary situation where you are either using your gas for the Banelings or on the Mutas. He does have a few Corruptors coming out. And these tanks are inching closer and closer. He can also drop down here, down below, if the Muta count is no longer a threat. 186 supply for BratOK. 172 for the Zerg player, most of those being Lings and Banelings. And the thing that's really scary here for DarKFoRcE is how far back the layers of siege tanks go. Because you think you could take out that initial layer, but then what happens is you realize that there's 2, 3 more layers behind it, and there's that ferry down that I was talking about. You just drop your Marines down here, you can pick them back up, and you cannot let a Terran get this far into your base. He's going to have to attack. The Lings are moving out. The Banelings are going to explode the front line, but can they get everything in the back? More Banelings going to those back Marines. There's still a few tanks that are left alive. The Lings are surrounding them, and they do manage to go down. And oh my God, it is literally just a handful of Lings and a handful of Marines left for both of these players, but now the Broodlords are out. And if he doesn't have the Vikings out, 70 Zerglings are on the way. Those Marines that were dropped down did take out this hatchery. So the Zerg is only on the 2 base since this one got taken out. But the question is with the Thors and the Vikings on their way out, can DarKFoRcE keep up with the Broodlord production on only 2 base? We can see the income right now. The Zerg down in Harvesters. There are also some missile turrets over here to help in this engagement. Another one is going to go up, and the Vikings should move forward, and he's got nothing. There's not even any Corruptors, and that means that these Broodlords are going to be short-lived. Why are the Vikings going back? There's nothing there to stop the Vikings. And the Zerglings do manage to go in, and DarKFoRcE says GG, and BratOK. Oh my gosh, BratOK pulls it out. DarKFoRcE after holding on and holding on and holding on, and the beautiful contain that we saw from BratOK. He did not want the Terran to get that far into his base. I think he could have attacked a little bit earlier and still had success, pushed him back. But with BratOK expanding at this position and having the planetary there, it was going to be too difficult of a battle. Nothing to protect those Broodlords, and it's GG, and DarKFoRcE is eliminated from IPL Season 2. BratOK from Russia, the Terran Beast, will be advancing forward. A great end to a great series. I'm DJ Wheat for OneMoreGame.tv, and don't forget to check out IGN.com/IPL for more coverage of the IPL Season 2 and beyond.